So it is a beautiful day and we are just starting our mastermind. We've got 9 incredible guests coming here at my place in London. We've got the table set up. We've got some incredible content to deliver today. This is where I bring in several friends of mine that are very successful in their own right, in property, and we're just going to have basically 2 days of immersion. Inspiring environment, that's why I hosted here. We're going to go for a beautiful dinner tonight. The guests are about to come, so really looking forward to the next 2 days. How I like to kick this off is just do a bit of introductions, go around the room, kind of understand who you are, where you're at, what your business looks like currently, and then also what you're looking to get out of these 2 days. I want to make sure this is a room where there's no judgment, we're all kind of comfortable sharing. You don't need to be modest, you don't need to be humble. If anything, it's better to kind of be a bit more transparent about where you're at.
Very briefly, the goal is to expand the coffee shop business. We're currently on 5 stores, in the throes of doing 2 further deals up north, Newcastle, and yeah, that's effectively where I'm at. Currently we've got 70 staff.
Wow.
And it's quite diversified. I would say predominantly all our staff is in the coffee shop side, around about 30 of them.
Yeah.
The FM side around 20-25, and then we've got other employees in the other side of things as well. So
what I do right now, currently I just go into the property space in terms of, I work with my mentor. He does a bespoke deal packaging business. So he's brought me on I've only been with him for about 2 months.
Do you want to explain how we met?
So I work as a waiter as my job, my day job, or in the night job. So I met him, he came to the La Perouse where I work, and he was having a good time. I took care of him. I took care of him, and I just introduced myself, because when I see someone that that I have some type of instant respect for, you can see someone, you can see that's someone respectable. I just went up to him, I said, what advice would you have? Sorry to if I've disturbed you, but what advice would you have for someone my age? I said my name, what I do, and then got to talking a little, and then right.
A lot of people think, personal branding is like putting the spotlight on myself, and it's very egotistical, it's very narcissistic. But actually, the reframe is, by building a personal brand, is you become the spotlight that can then shine the light on certain things, whether it's you want to shine the light on certain parts of your business, whether it's the mission. One of the best personal brands I think in the world is Elon. Elon knows how to harness attention, but one thing he's unbelievably good at doing is clearly articulating his mission and vision and principles to the world, so people kind of know what his objectives are with the companies, and from that, certain people that resonate with his mission and values will want to work with him, other people don't. The 3 bottlenecks in growing a real estate business, anyone know what they are, or how do you speak about it? Capital,
Deals.
Deals, third one. When you think about scaling a business, right, you want to think about what's called the throughput of value through that business. So how does kind of money get made, how does it grow? And a business can only grow to its nearest constraint. It's something that Mosey talks about a lot. So you've got to think about where's that constraint that's kind of stopping it from growing. In property, it's very simple. If we think about the throughput of value, you need deals. The fancy word for that is deal flow. If you speak to the bigger finance guys in the city, deal flow is the term they use, or the venture capitalists or private equity guys. It's like, we want good deal flow. So then what happens, you've got great deal flow, you've got plenty of deals coming your way, you've got access to capital, you need a team. And so ultimately, in order to grow a property business, you just need to get good at these 3 things. You need to get good deal flow, and there's a skill and a process, and when Sam comes and speaks tomorrow, we'll be sharing about how he finds deals and the process he has for that. Capital, we're going to talk about that today and tomorrow. Alfred, Tej, you're going to start hearing the same things from all of us that hopefully will pick. And then team and systems for delivery. Who feels like they have some understanding of this side of things? I'm assuming you might, Ryan.
in terms of third-party investors, none whatsoever. We do our own capital, or we use commercial banks.
From my experience, you're not really selling the project, you're kind of selling yourself. It's the confidence that they have in you, it's how you come across. You're literally having a conversation with another human. And if they trust you, and if you come across as trustworthy, and you can show them some success you've had in the past, there's no reason for them not to invest in you.
I might lend Ogbar £50,000 as a loan. I know you don't do loans, but hypothetically speaking. And let's say you use that money, but that deal didn't make a profit, I would still be owed my 50 grand plus my interest.
Yeah.
regardless of what happened. Now, if you can't pay it back because you've lost all the money, that's another story. Hopefully I've got the security in place, or I just have to write off the loan. But if I invested 50 grand equity with you into a deal where I'm taking on the risk, and the deal didn't make any profit, then I don't get a return on my money. That's the risk that I'm taking. The other benefit of joint venture partners is you get into these bigger kind of deals and bridging loans and development loans, is the banks are going to want to see assets and liabilities. If you want to go and get £1 million development loan, at that point, the banks are going to start asking you for personal guarantees and stuff. They're like, can you personally guarantee a quarter of this, 20% of this, whatever. And you might just happily say, yeah, fine, I'll happily personal guarantee anything, but they actually need to know that your personal guarantee is worth something, because if they know you've got fuck all to your name, that personal guarantee doesn't mean shit. So they're going to want to ask for your assets and liabilities. You get to a point where the deals that you're trying to do and the lending you're trying to take on, the A&L requirement, or that PG, personal guarantee requirement, is actually more than what you actually have to your name, which is when it's good to bring partners in. Because again, who, not how.
Are you able to collateralize the same asset twice in 2 different loans?
Yeah.
So
well, not with
infinite,
security.
That's like infinite money glitch.
No,
Yeah.
not as like you couldn't charge against more than one thing.
So let's say if you take a loan, let's say $1 million, you said you got a guarantee 200k of it. Let's say you only own one house worth 200k. Am I able to go and take another loan
Yeah.
for $1 million and use the same house?
They're not putting a charge on that house though. But then we're also going to look at, they're going to also want to ask you what other loans you do have at the moment.
Yeah, made it out the trenches, this type of life I can't get used to. Number 1 on YouTube, private dinner in Malibu. Show you how to work your stick, ain't nobody gonna handle you. Put you in a
I was born in Barrow-in-Furness, up in the Lake District. From the ages of, from born up until the age of 11, I lived with my mother and my stepfather, again in Barrow. I was abused as a child right the way from 1 up until 11. I was stabbed 3 times by my stepfather in the back of the leg. I had got hit my head off the corner of a door. I used to have to go into school with bruises, cuts. We all have these types of stories. You've now shown me a life I don't want to end up like. I don't want to be the same as you for my children. I now know how not to act. I attended this event, exact same event that you are all at now. My biggest takeaway as well, the same as what you're having now, the importance of personal brand, thinking outside the box. And I thought, how do I put myself in these environments? I then went to the Dubai mastermind. I started to show Tyler and the lads all my numbers, and they were like, you do know the gold mine that you have right now. Each van generates me between 11 and 17,000 pounds a month. The cost to service that van, that costs me 3 grand to run a month. It generates me between 11 and 17 grand a month. Material costs can be anything between 10 to 30% depending on if it's a material heavy month or not. There's a fucking big profit margin there for maintenance. So, after leaving the Dubai event and having to sit back and think, shit, we're missing out here, we thought, we need more vans. We need more vans. So I started to take all of the profit. I then started, because you've got to bear in mind, I've not done 2 years. I'm not lendable. I can't get business finance or business loans. So I was using in like free profit every time I had 3.5 grand. Van, throwing it into maintenance all over the Northwest and telling them that I could fulfill it all. And that's what we started to do. So at any one time now, this is just in the Northwest, we have 240, this was just from yesterday. We have an active number of jobs at any one time, up to 247 jobs at a time, just to even try and fulfill. This is not jobs that we've completed. This is just jobs on the go that we're trying to complete.
Other individuals like Iman, for example, worked with him back from 2018 onward for about 3 years. One of the first things that I would take note of, and this is another metric which I'll explore with you guys as well, would be heart rate fluctuation throughout the night. So you can see here, for example, Tyler's heart rate, his resting heart rate is 55 BPM, which would infer to me that he can improve his cardiovascular health a little bit. Definitely work on that. It's not drastic, it's not bad by any means, but for example, my resting heart rate is 32 BPM. Really? Right, but I train a lot, so it's all relative. However, you can see here that his heart rate prior to bed, when he first went to sleep, wasn't much more elevated at 68 BPM. That's great, and then 38 is last meal a few hours prior to bed. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a pattern I notice. If I eat a hot meal way too close to bed, my heart rate does spikes.
Yeah. So how many of you guys eat within 1 to 2 hours prior to bed? Yeah, because you're working late. Or
6 p.m. cut off for me.
Yeah, okay, that's great, man. That's awesome.
And I like a snack.
Yeah, most people do. Yeah, in the evening time specifically.
So background, engineering, did aerospace engineering back at university. Came out of that, worked in the corporate world at Jaguar Land Rover. I was a project manager, working on projects anywhere between 5 to 200 million. For me, the main reason for getting into property very simply is I want to make more money. I was big on getting educated, so obviously being in a room like this, you're obviously here to invest in yourself and get educated and kind of have the right starting point and rather than try and guess your way to your outcome. Obviously getting into property in a relatively short time, done quite a lot in the sense I've built a £4.5 million portfolio. I was able to achieve 4 million of that in the first 3 years, so quite rapid in terms of scale. Been recognised, won multiple awards based on achievements and stuff I've done in property. So kind of just, I guess, high level, spoken in multiple stages, featured in multiple articles, just based on how fast. I think everyone's kind of surprised at how quickly I scaled.
Bought 15 properties the first 9 months, bought a couple more afterwards, flipped most of them, kept about 12 of them. 2 of them are serviced accommodation, so they're like, I own them, but they're essays on the front end. They're great, they're very passive, they bring in money and yeah, it is what it is. Podcast just went past 1 million downloads, Tyler's actually on it. He's got one of the highest views actually of recent times, so go check that out if you haven't listened to him on that. And yeah, I've written 2 books as well. This was my first ever deal. So money left in 4 grand, monthly rental profit now is 500. The value's like 120 right now. So that's a fucking good deal. Who'd be happy? I mean, talking about your first, who here in here has bought their first ever investment property? I think one of you said it, right? One of you, 2 of you. So the rest of you haven't. Would you be happy having £4,000 in an investment and making 500 a month? Maths wise, are we happy with that? Over the year, if you do the maths, is it above 100%? Yep. Is everyone happy with that? Why do you look so fucking miserable then? Right? This is a decent deal. And am I gonna say, oh, you can find deals like this right now? You can, but it is way more difficult than when I did it. Like that's the disclaimer, that's what people won't tell you. Like it's a different market. But like I said, look, that was in auction. That was direct to vendor through my brand. But
I'm Sam Jones. I run a company called Occupy Group. So it's a bit of a holding structure. Got sourcing company, project management company, and an investment company under that umbrella. We've sold over 150 properties to investors, renovated over 50 properties for investors and for ourselves. Currently selling anywhere between 5 and 7 properties per month. Just spotting the properties that look run down or look empty in your area, making a mental note of them, and then when you're getting back, just making a log of those in a spreadsheet. And then you can go to places like Land Registry, search the property address and purchase the title information of that property to find the owner's details.
My 2 biggest takeaways: absolute clarity, manifesting everything in detail, writing down everything in detail and putting that into my subconscious. Number 2, rubbing shoulders with like-minded people, highly important. You are a creature of your environment at the end of the day. I've now made connections for life. I've obviously met Tyler, met his speakers, and we rub shoulders and potentially do deals together. It's invaluable. Get rid of limiting beliefs. Anyone is capable of doing anything. Throw them out the window. Business is all about a belief system, in my opinion. Impregnating it in your subconscious and just doing it and acting on it.
My biggest takeaway from this weekend would be systems and optimising my own business that I have at the moment. It's a construction company, we're based in Ireland, and this has given me real clarification on what I need to do in my business to turn my business into a vehicle for generating profit to invest in property. When you realise that your work is just your work, but the real work is on yourself, and you can't get better than surround yourself with like-minded people, getting into the networking that's going to come out of this is unbelievable, and it's a taste of what life really is.
The biggest takeaway from these 2 days was we all come across problems and we kind of can get stuck in a cycle of, oh yeah, how do I solve this? But change that how to who do I know that knows that solution to that problem. I've come across Tyler not too long ago at all, like it's only been a couple of weeks, and after coming here and experiencing all these lessons and kind of hearing the success stories of what can be achieved in a short space of time, you just it's something that money can't buy. And if you're on the fence, just take the jump.
This weekend's been pretty transformational for me personally. It's about adopting a value mindset rather than a cost mindset. Some people look at investing in themselves and don't want to do it, but my opinion is if you're not going to bet on yourself, then no one else is. And when you get exposed to environments like this, and then you go back to where you're from and your old circles, it's not going to cut it. And once you've seen this, you can't unsee it. Yeah, I was on the fence. I had to sleep on it, to be fair. And then I just thought, fuck it, like, if I make one connection here who helps me sell one deal or gets me one property deal or meet one connection which helps me in the future, create problems. Jamie's drilled it into me. Create problems. Don't create the demand and think, how am I going to supply this? And just make it happen. And then you progress.